Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including RWBY, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Hayley Nabuurs.
Hello.
And Andy Potter.
Hello.
Yes, more RWBY this week here on the Overly Animated Podcast. This time we're talking episode 11 of Volume 6, The Lady in the Shoe. That aired today on Rooster Teeth First. Yes, you heard me. That was the name of the episode, The Lady in the Shoe. No, it did not have anything to do with the episode. It's probably my least favorite title ever. But
it's probably the worst episode title of any show we've ever covered.
This is nonsense. It's about Cordovan, but I don't care about her associated fairy tale. Just stop. Get it out. Get it out of here. Okay.
Especially because they showed that she was not in the shoe, but in the top.
Oh, you expected her to be in the shoe of the robot?
Yeah,
that would have been incredible,
right?
See, that would be a literal title. That would make more sense if that was the title. Okay,
but no.
It aired today on Rooster Teeth First, and we talk RWBY every week. That is new here on the Overly Animated Podcast. And we cover the Rooster Teeth First premieres. Find us at overlyanimated.com. Search for Overly Animated RWBY on iTunes, or our YouTube is youtube.com/overlyanimated. Spoilers for this week and all previous episodes of RWBY. Big week here, and we have a ton to get into. So, Hayley, what are your reactions to The Lady in the Shoe?
Okay, so I've been processing all day. I don't think I've ever swore so much while watching RWBY or any other show. Like, it was all positive swearing.
Yeah,
but
what about Volume 4, a negative swearing? No, not during.
Well, yes, but this was just like I couldn't hold it in anymore. I just kept swearing at my phone. So it was wild. I think the biggest thing of the night is that Bumblebee is like pretty much canon.
Yes.
They're holding hands together next to a waterfall saying they're going to protect each other. That was insane. And I just lost my mind, like, so much. It was amazing. It was beautiful. I'm so excited. And like, there's hope that it's going to end up with them being together and kissing by the end of this. So that was amazing. The fight was so cool between Blake and Adam. I think that was awesome and like technically beautiful. And the whole time I'm like, yeah, Blake, like, woo! And then Bumpy. No, it was amazing. And then also the first half with the lady in the shoe, I suppose. I think there was some amazing fight scene moments in that. And I was thoroughly entertained, which I was not expecting. Seeing that, like, oh, we're going to be weird with this, I guess, villain now in this fight scene. I thought it was going to be really silly. But it was actually such a fun fight scene. So, yeah, this episode was just so cool and awesome. And I think it's like one where you just have to kind of ignore, like, the rational part of your mind and just be like, this is awesome. Like, it was just awesome.
Okay, it was just awesome.
It was awesome. And Bumblebee, yes.
And Bumblebee. Okay,
yeah.
And Andy, what do you...
and White Rose, too.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I was going to talk about that. Yeah, of course.
So
And do you concur, Andy?
Yeah, this episode is probably, I think, the most fun episode of the season. And that's saying a lot, because I've had a lot of fun this season. But this one was just, I think it was a 14-minute episode of just fights and nothing else happened. And that's good. That's what I want this show to be. It was just fights and shipping moments. And it was really fun. And it was just condensed RWBY. I was really kind of upset when the episode started, when we weren't just starting with the Blake Adam fight, because I just want to get that over with. I'm like, yes, let's kill Adam. Let's do it. And I was kind of like,
so
yeah. But we kind of pulled back and we started with RWBY and everyone else. And I was still a little bit hesitant. But as soon as RWBY jumped off the cliff and Weiss caught her with the ice, I was just like smiling from like ear to ear, just like completely in on the fight, just watching them all just talk and banter and run around and fight this giant robot, which I was really surprised about. And then the actual fight with Adam was just really cool. And there was some really good musical moments in the mech fight and in the Blake/Adam fight. And it was just, I don't know, it was just a really great action episode. And it was really, really fun. I really enjoyed it all.
Yeah, I think it might be the best action episode of the show.
Honestly, I think so.
Yeah.
Like there's better fights, but usually they're not like episodes solely centered on fights usually have some butt about them. Like it was really like, it was a cool fight, but there was this other thing which I didn't really like.
And they get boring and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this episode doesn't have any of that. I think it's like really fun start to finish. There's nothing that I hated in it, or even disliked. Like I loved everything that was happening. I was super into the Genlock episode 1 preview in the beginning. Not the preview that played before the episode, but the robot fight with that was the preview.
Yeah.
And it was. I have some potentially interesting takes about that, but I thought it was like pretty successful with getting all the characters involved. The Ruby and Weiss moments are obviously what stood out to me as number one White Rose shipper here, and this was the biggest White Rose episode ever, by far.
Yeah.
I'll get into it. They had a 1 minute sequence when it was just them basically, and it was the best thing. I don't even know if it was a minute, but it's more than we've ever seen before. And they were great. And then somehow it was also the biggest Bumblebee episode ever, like both in the same episode. So obviously this is one of the best episodes of the show because it's the biggest White Rose episode and the biggest Bumblebee episode. I assume that will be supplanted soon, hopefully in the next 2 weeks, biggest Bumblebee episode. But, then the Adam stuff, Adam continued to be like a good, positive, he's not like a good person, but he's a positive presence for the show this season. I think that he's a good villain here. He's good in terms of Blake and Yang's arcs. He's presented accurately as a terrible person. He's actually given a reveal that gives him more depth than a million times more than he's ever gotten before, because he was just a cardboard cutout of this like edgy anime villain. But here he actually kind of has some depth, and depth even though it's just like not explained at all, which is fine. The fight with Blake is great. The fight with Adam's great, or the Yang is great, and then the ending moment of them holding hands is a great lead into what I assume will be some sort of culmination for the two of them, either next week or the week after. I think it's the second or third best episode of the season. I think probably I'll still take Lost Fable number 1, and then either this or Grim Reaper would be 2 and 3, I would say. Just really it's like, it's not the same as some of the other ones because we don't get like this like start to finish complete story. This is like a segment of each of the fights, but just what we did get in the 13, 14 minutes that we saw, I think was really fantastic. Let's talk Bumblebee to start with here, because once again, second week in a row, our leading story, I would say, is Bumblebee, because we talked last week, we said, wow, it's actually going to happen based on what they did last week. And then here we end the episode with Yang's arm is shaking after fighting with Adam for a little bit and probably charging up, which we'll get to. And then Blake holds her hand and says, she's not protecting me, Adam, and I'm not protecting her. We're protecting each other.
The love.
And then we end with the shot of them holding hands, looking into the camera. Or I don't know if they're off camera, but Hayley, what emotions were you going through? What reaction were you having to this?
Oh, I was losing my mind, honestly, because like I'm confident that I was confident last week that they were going to do something with this, but you never would know with RWBY. Like, it's really good right now, but sometimes what they're hinting at doesn't happen for some reason, and like this was just so gratifying because it made total sense for the characters. It makes total sense in the storyline and what we've been presented, and it's so great. Like, it's so great. I'm so excited because it's actually happening, and it was just so beautiful and sweet. And also them like protecting each other, but like when Bumblebee the bike came down, like that was, and him,
yes,
that was amazing. And that was just so, it was just, all of it was so great and so perfect, because I think it was really smart to have it not just be kind of how I guess I was picturing this, where Yang would show up and then all three of them would fight and it would just be a big fight and maybe a little bit of talking, but mostly fighting. I feel like in this, they actually got some like cool down time to like talk to each other, all the three of them, which was really neat. And then leading to having this awesome moment. And yeah, I'm just so happy. And I think it was so well done. The set is gorgeous that it's on. It's beautiful. And yeah, I don't know, man. It was awesome. It was so great.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I can't, I'm like, are they like playing with me? Are they going to
We'll talk about it. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Andy, what was your reaction watching it?
I thought the dialogue was so stupid, but I was like 100% in for it though. Like I was just so excited when Blake said that, and I think I really do like what you said, Hayley, about like how the fight was paced, because it was really cool. Because like there were these natural break points in the fight where like the two fighters would get tired and there'd be a chance for talking, and it felt a lot more like, because in anime fights and like shows like this, there's talking. It's like, why are they talking? Aren't they just fighting? This felt like they were actually getting tired and like catching their breath and like trying to like maneuver while they were talking, and I found that really good. I found that pacing really nice for this fight, and it just led into this moment so perfectly, and it was great, even though the dialogue was really stupid, but I loved it so much.
And there's also, I feel like what's helping this is not just it being the greatest moment ever with Bumblebee, is that the fight in general feels like it actually does have stakes. Yeah. Because I don't think they're all leaving this okay. So it adds like that emotion to an already emotional moment, which is so great.
There were multiple times in this fight where I was like, I thought someone got really hurt, and
I thought Blake got stabbed.
She does get stabbed on the screen, right? And it's a
she
clone.
does,
yeah.
But like, yeah, but then she flashes away. So but I did have a moment where I was like, no, Yang isn't here yet. You can't do that. Like, how dare you?
I thought they were going to do the exact replica of the Volume 3 scene again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a worry for a second, yeah.
Yeah.
And they do a good job ramping up the stakes, too, by saying, like, you can just leave Adam and everything will be okay, right? Like, definitely get the impression that, even more so, the possibility of Adam dying here based on just, like, warning of him, like, we don't want to kill you, basically, is what I think is what they're saying. So we'll talk about whether they will, whether it'll be them. Probably he's still dying. But yeah, I agree with Andy that this, on the surface, this line that we end the episode on is pretty bad. That she's not protecting me, Adam, and I'm not protecting her, we're protecting each other. This is actually, like, it's a bad line of dialogue in another circumstance, but it's a good example of, like, understanding the situation and writing a line that gives the dramaticness of the episode space to manifest. Like, you don't need, this line's redundant, you don't need to say all this, but you do this so that they can, voice actors can like chew on the dialogue, and the pacing of the animation can like properly establish what we want to do ending the episode. So I don't think it's like a good I've seen some people say that online, like it's not, it's like it's a stupid line. Like, yeah, it's a melodramatic line for like a really dramatic scene. Like, it's appropriate, I think, for the scene.
Yeah. And they're also like, I don't know, they're not professing their love, but they're kind of professing their love. So give them a dramatic moment, guys.
Each other. Yeah.
Let them have a moment.
Yeah, where they said that was, you heard I love you, Hayley.
I did, as they held hands. Like, I honestly thought they were going to kiss in that second. But I was like, no, guys, like, that would be too much of a, like, defensive air if you made that right now. So, yeah, no, it was awesome.
Yeah, it's, it was such a good moment, and ending the episode on it is great because it gives it even more power. And, just the prospects of Bumblebee now. Let's talk about that, because we were already 100% sure the show would eventually do it. We were kind of split on whether they would be more likely to, less likely to, or even possibility of it happening this season. I think this, to a certain extent, is Bumblebee happening, but if we're talking like a kiss and a real love profession, you know, like actual them saying I love you. Like, Hayley, how do you think this affects the chances of that in the last 2 weeks?
So I think I was like 70 or 80% last week. I am now 99% sure.
Wow.
Like, I may get burned, but I'm feeling real confident, because this was it was just so perfect and deliberate. And like, I don't know how they would end the season with them just being like, yeah, buddy, and like, good fight, guys. Like, that would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, like, they're holding hands already and stuff. So no, I think something, maybe not a kiss, but I think maybe a kiss, but like some sort of like more deliberate personal profession of love, but I think they're going to kiss.
I'll tell you how they're going to end the season with them saying, yeah, buddy, because that's what's going to happen with RWBY and Weiss. So they can just do the same thing.
They haven't had the same development.
Yeah,
so
there's not as much of a...
Next season's your season.
Right. Well, yeah, we'll get to that in a second. I agree. Yeah, Andy, percentage.
I actually went the exact opposite way of Hayley. I was like 70-80 before this episode. Now I'm like 50-60 of getting more. Like, I completely I can envision a finale where
how dare you? Yeah.
I can envision a finale where we get however we're going to Atlas, like whatever vehicle we're taking, where everyone's sitting in the back and like maybe Blake's just like leaning on Yang, like falling asleep, and that's all the more we get this season. Like I can see that happening. And we still get more Bumblebee next season, but we might not get a kiss this season now. This feels like the climax of their arc for this season.
Okay, I'm going to say 90% kiss, 99% more confirmation.
Some version of more confirmation, yeah.
I think we're going to get confirmation. I just don't know if it's going to be like a kiss or like profession of love anymore.
Yeah, I agree with Andy that the biggest worry at this point is that this is the most we'll get, right? Like, this is a climax in and of itself for the two of them, so this does pay off the build-up we've done. If you just want to end it here, like, I still don't think it's the satisfying, dramatically, or the way to go. But there's a world where this is, like, the max that happens. That being said, I'm still increasing my odds to, like, 75%. I was on 50%.
It just keeps going up, like...
I'm still worried that, I am. The 25% is like, this is the culmination, and then 75% like, we'll get more from that. That being said, Aaron, Blake's voice actor, is freaking out on Twitter about this, so it's
yeah.
Aaron says, well, Bumblebee may be gone, but it looks like Bumblebee might not be. So, seemingly, this is you would think that she would not say this if this was the last book we get of it, because it could be perceived as baity or something. And I don't remember if it was her or Barbara, but like even before the season started, was like freaking out already. Like they've the two of them have not been subtle, which is part of the reason why we've been so confident. But yeah, I think probably it'll happen. Also, insert your Bumblebee is RIP Bumblebee. Bumblebee's no more this season.
Bumblebee, long live Bumblebee.
Yeah,
it went out in the most amazing way possible.
Oh, I love the musical cue for it too. It's just so perfect. Like the music cuts out for him to get hit by the motorcycle, and then it comes back in for Yang landing. It's so good.
Also, Yang was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna sacrifice Bumblebee for my girl. Like, let it go, hit Adam." As a strategic move, it's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so stupid, and I love it. It doesn't even knock him off the cliff. It's in fact.
It could have worked. Like.
I mean, she was in danger, I guess, in that moment. It probably helped. But
I'm actually really glad it didn't work, because then we might have knocked Adam into the river and he would just be gone for this season.
True.
Yeah.
Now he's here.
Get back to that in a second. But yeah, the Bumblebee, the motorcycle hitting Adam, and the great moment. Did we predict that last week? I don't even remember.
Yes,
right? Yeah,
we definitely did.
Okay. That's
I don't remember that, but sure.
One of us. I don't think I said it. I think one of you two said it.
It's somebody on the podcast said it, because I know we talked about it.
Yeah. It was pretty fantastic. It was like Adam was like, "You're all alone, Blake," and she's like, "I'm not alone," and then Yang comes in. It's like another really melodramatic one. And here's this line from Yang: "It's okay. Catch your breath for a second. I can hold him off." Said like really softly too. Like,
oh, it was so sweet.
I have some unfinished business with that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, she does.
I'm just so glad they didn't do this stupid. I'm going to even her outline. Like, oh my god, I thought they were going to do it. For a second. I was prepped for it. Dylan. I was so worried.
He should have said it. He should have. I kind of wish he said it. Okay.
Then we know for sure they're trolling specifically me.
Well, we already know that with the tail. We know that already.
That's confirmed.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a really subtle Bumblebee line. Is it's okay? Catch your breath for a second. Just again, that's it's
subtle. It's like the only thing that happens on screen.
Yeah, well, subtle doesn't need to mean. Yeah, subtle in terms of like the thing we're going to focus on this episode is the handhold at the end. But I think this is another big one. Like Yang being compassionate and affectionate towards her with this, and just especially like they're not they've gone at each other's throats a little bit in dramaticness, and this is like really a really soft and caring line from her, and also like protective, and yeah, there you go.
It was just beautiful. It's just so beautiful. I love it.
It was great. Yang comes in fighting Adam. We learn that Adam's semblance is like Yang's, and it stores energy in his sword, and then he can send it back when he's ready.
Okay, guys. Okay.
I call it sword jitsu. That's what I call it. Yeah.
Rant time.
Oh, you have a rant about the Adam semblance. Okay, go ahead.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. That's not a semblance. He has a good weapon. It's a tool that he seemed to have bought at a store, and is like, yeah, this is what I use.
So you're saying it's not his personal ability, it's just the sword doing all the work.
It's this, of course, yeah, exactly.
I think we figured it out. That's why Adam's so good. He just cheated in the game and like typed in like a cheat code and got like a bunch of money and bought a great weapon.
He was like, "Oh, that's cool. I'll use that." Meanwhile, his semblance is like cooking good food or something. It's like, I'll say my semblance is this.
Oh, you think he's lying about it just to have to Blake? Yeah. He would do that though. He would try to lie to make his semblance.
Probably something terrible, and then he's like, I really need to find something better. He's joined the White Fang. He's young. It's an existential crisis. It's like finds this sword somehow. And somehow convinces everyone that that's his semblance. Oh. But if you take the sword away, he's useless. So, like,
I think the intent is that his personal ability augments the sword or something, and it gives the sword.
How does that work? It's a sword.
I don't know how it works. How does any of this work?
He takes his weapon in aura, obviously.
Don't even. Auras will come into play later.
No, how dare you? No. But at least the other semblances, as ridiculous as they are, rely on the physical person, not an accessory. So
that's true. This involves. Yeah, he catches it with his sword. Yeah, it's a. Yeah, I mean, look, I have no particular relative to other semblance. I've had complaints about every semblance. I feel like this is par for the course, but I just wanted to know what this was called. Like, what's his name for the semblance? That's very important.
He's going to say it with his dying breath. He'll tell us.
My semblance. I just didn't want you guys to go away without knowing how cool my semblance name was.
I can actually know all languages when they're spoken to me.
Oh, he's going to reveal his real semblance.
Yeah. Yeah. Seeing through pieces of fabric.
Yeah.
We're all the like domestic chore semblances. I agree.
Yeah. Adam.
Okay. Then we get this. We can't have Adam here without giving him some stupid splashy visual.
Yep.
He gets this red-black splash screen video game special move thing, and then he sends the splash at Yang, and you think like, wow, Yang's gonna die, her arm's gonna fall, and then she catches it with her robot arm. I guess. Is that what happens? I don't know. That's what it looked like.
I think, she didn't really move that much.
She got pushed back a little bit.
She got pushed back. It seemed like she deflected it with the robot arm. Like it didn't hurt her because it's a robot arm.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
well, we got a theory.
Andy, what did you think of the splash screen from Adam that we got?
I hated the splash screen. I don't like them giving him cool stuff. This was better than the Volume 3 splash screen because it wasn't like meant to be beautiful. It was meant to be scary, which is a different effect. Mm-hmm. But I still don't like that they're giving him these kind of things. I think he could have just attacked without having this crazy splash screen.
Maybe we can say it's the sword doing it.
Yeah.
Right?
The sword affected the animation. I agree.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was like really, really cool animation. Probably the standout animation moment of the episode.
Well, no, and that's what I'm saying, Dylan. I like that it's cool. I just don't like that Adam's getting it.
Yeah, I think it's fine in the context of he's about to die and this didn't succeed. That's much different than he maimed one of our other main characters.
It is.
Yeah. So I kind of liked it. Also, the context is that he's being presented as a terrible person. That's another essential component.
And also like that other one in Volume 3 like had like this white splash. This is all black. It's supposed to be a scary thing. It's supposed to be imposing, and it's not just like because I'm pretty sure one in Volume 3 is just like they make it like bright white, and it's supposed to be like this like kind of like sorrowful field type effect, and it's really weird.
Yeah, at the very least, I thought this was gorgeous and like totally out of a video game. Like it totally could have been.
Yeah,
there were like multiple video game references.
Which I think is meta in a good way for RWBY. But Yang catches this blast. It doesn't affect her. So I don't know if this is supposed to be obvious or if people disagree or what. But my interpretation is that Yang, like we mentioned, Yang's semblance. We refer to it in
remind us.
We remind us Yang's semblance is that she, I guess, also charges up. She like builds up her anger and then releases it. That was Volume 3 stuff. So I think this is like she gets this attack. She's just slowly getting more and more powerful here. She doesn't end up unleashing anything in this episode. So I feel like that's the big thing heading into next episode is attack will Yang unleash on Adam.
Because she got the idea about his sword, whatever, storing things. And she's like, maybe my arm can do it.
Yeah, maybe her arm is storing the energy. She specifically blocks with the arm.
Yeah.
What it might be is that Yang has to, for her semblance work, it has to be something that she considers part of herself. And maybe she's grown at this point past her trauma that she considers her arm part of herself, like her metal arm. That's why it'll work. I could
totally see them doing that.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. And that would explain too the whole, I think you said earlier, Dylan, about like her hand shaking. Because I think what on the face value, what we're meant to take from that is that while she's telling Adam, like, you could leave now or else, like, we're gonna kill you. It's her bluffing and being nervous, but that's not really in Yang's character thing because she's so cocky.
Done it before. Well, no, that's happened before. Her hand has been shaking before. I think it was last season.
I think in this situation that would it'd be kind of random. I don't know.
I think it's a misdirect, like you're saying. I think it's supposed to be like exactly. This is like her lack of confidence, or she's but it's she's shaking because she's too much energy stored up.
Yeah, in her hand, and she looks very confident after she takes the hit and then stands there. Like she doesn't look scared. At least I don't know.
She's fully there and present and confident and protecting her.
Regardless, it gets a handhold. So.
It does get handled. I think that's a great context for the handhold. So, I think next episode it's going to be like Yang unleashes this final attack. I assume this is what kills Adam or something, and that's like, I'm warning you. I have more energy here than I've ever had. Okay, so is Adam dying? We still think Adam's dying, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, basically 100%.
Yeah.
My worry is that now that we're on a ledge above a waterfall, that he could, like we're
Cinder
saying,
all over again.
He could fall in, and then his fate is undetermined, because as we saw with Cinder last season, when someone falls off an edge, then they are not necessarily dead.
Mm-hmm. I still think that he's not. I think he's going to die still, because it seems like, I think we said this last week, where I don't see where they could take him from here, and there's so many other villains and storylines that are being built up, and we've moved past Menagerie and the White Fang and everything like that. So I don't see why they would keep him around, unless to get rid of him, have him fall off the cliff, and then 3 seasons from now he shows up again. But I think that would be a bad decision, in my opinion, at least.
I think so too. Scary theory from RWBY G on CO was that Yang falls off the cliff into the waterfall, and then the post-credit scene is Neo and Cinder finding him and pulling him back up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which I could totally see them doing.
Yeah,
that could happen.
The one thing that I think could lean towards that happening is that Team RWBY has not killed anybody on screen yet. That would be a huge step towards...
Right, that's the last thing I want to talk about, right, is that we were talking Yang and Blake are going to kill. And a lot of feedback we got, I think, was very apt, was that that's not something that Yang and Blake would want to do. That's a big thing, is killing someone.
But here's the thing. It's definitely, it's a strong change from the rest of the show, for sure. But I think they've built it up in a way where it would be believable, because they've established in this fight that Adam is not going to let them leave unharmed.
Yeah.
He's prepared to kill one of them. And I think they know that. And they've also made it clear that, this is kind of the end to a big arc, which started back in season 3 or whenever, when Yang lost her arm in the first place. So I think it's got the proper weight and storyline behind it, and it's been established that this isn't just a normal fight. There are real consequences to this fight. So I think it would be wild if it actually happened. It would be crazy, but I can see that they've put energy behind it being believable. That makes any sense?
Yeah, they've done all the build up that would get us to a point where it could actually happen.
It's not coming out of left field. It's not
they've said they went there. Adam will not leave them alone. They have no other option.
Yang has tried to stab Blake.
We've seen multiple times how unforgivable he is and how horrible he is. He's tried to kill Blake again. He's already been that character. Yang has literally warned him and said, leave. We will let you leave. Just go away. And also we've seen a build up of this energy in Yang where it would not necessarily be something she can control at this point. So it's not like she's intentionally doing it. The only way to get them away from her is that she unleashes this attack that's stored up, and who knows what's going to happen when that happens. So I think they've done all the required build up for the audience to believe that this is a possibility. And I think that's intentional. We now think that Yang might kill Adam next episode. It doesn't necessarily mean that she will, though. We could subvert that. We could have...
It'd be awesome.
Someone else come in. We could have him accidentally trip and fall. There's I don't know. But yeah, it's. What do you think, Andy?
I think that it's very likely that, now that we're talking about it, because I wasn't really thinking about it when I was watching the episode, but I just realized I was running through my head that Yang hasn't really used her semblance since Volume 3 in any way. We saw little bursts of it, her eyes changing color, but she hasn't gotten crazy mad. And this feels like the time for us to get the old, at least. Not I think it's kind of disrespectful to say the old Yang, but because she had a long journey here. But I think like we'd get a hint at like the way she was in Volume 3, how this
she's
like
got
this
control
power
over it now.
Yeah, this like immense powerful person on the team, and this feels like the perfect time to show it. And I think they've ramped it up where like, yeah, Yang can't control this. Adam dug his own grave here, and I could see Yang just like punching him and like not his like neck snapping. I don't know how they'd kill him. Like that's the thing. I don't know how they kill him that makes it not like be super brutal, because Blake and Yang both have really brutal ways to kill people at their disposal.
Yeah, he has to like Pyrrha type dematerialize or something like that.
Yeah, or like it happens off screen and like the music cuts and they're like, and then we like zoom up with the camera or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna hedge. I think that we're definitely ostensibly killing Adam, but I really think that post credits thing is possible. So I'm not gonna say that we won't. And even if that happens, I don't think like it's possible to write Adam off for a few seasons. Like they could totally do that. They could just have that throwaway post credits thing, and then the reason that's believable is because Neo and Cinder haven't appeared yet. So they got to be somewhere. But yeah, I think like Adam will die for all intents and purposes, but it's possible he won't actually die. And if they do that, whatever. It's like it'll be annoying, but if they want to bring Adam back in 3 seasons as like a cyborg or something, whatever.
Meanwhile, Yang and Blake are married. Like,
yeah.
He accomplished his purpose here. So,
he did.
Yeah.
He gave us Bumblebee.
I also think there's reason to believe that he'll at least leave the show for sure, because Blake's weapon just broke, and there's an awesome weapon, like you said, Hayley, just sitting here for them to take. Like they can just beat him up but
Blake, it's a semblance, right? It's part of
it. I don't know, but I don't think Blake would use Adam's sword. I think that I don't
think she would, but like that seems like a thing they do in anime.
I guess that is possible. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the rest of the scene that we haven't talked about yet. The Blake and Adam fight. It starts in the forest and then goes into the waterfall. They showed the location in the credits, and Indy and I were remarking that there's like this. They're on the top of this like bridge on the waterfall, and then there's like stone bridge, and then there's like an area below. So there's like they could totally fall to that next episode if you look at the schematics for it. It's like a really beautiful location.
Yang is definitely breaking that bridge next.
Yeah,
episode.
I think she's breaking the bridge with her attack, and they're going to fall to the thing below.
Yeah.
Which is a good move. Very Voltron Black Paladins type of thing.
Yeah.
It's it's like kind of like a similar fight location. So I think it's kind of like a really classic multi-layered type of thing that's meant to fall apart. It's Adam's. Adam says a lot of annoying things. Can you do anything besides run?
Oh my god.
So that was very on the nose to Blake's previous themes. Important thing we haven't talked about: Blake's jacket comes off.
I lost mine.
Yeah, what was your reaction, Hayley?
I love her look without the jacket. Like the whole time she was fighting, I'm like, girl, like lose the jacket all the time. This is a great look on you.
Haley, we were talking earlier this season about how they need to get bigger like jackets because they're in a snowy forest.
Well, I was saying she needed to wrap it around her crop top, the tails of it.
They're moving about. She doesn't need the warmth, right? She's fighting, so
she needs the like maneuverability. No, I love her costume change. I was so happy when the jacket got removed because that jacket's bugged me a lot. I don't like the design of it.
Wow,
personally. I don't think the big collar is too much. So like, I loved her outfit. Yeah, it was awesome. And the fight in general was like so cool. And I found the camera angles were really neat and they were moving really fast, but you could like kind of follow it. But it also fed into what we were talking about where it sounds like this is a real, or feels like this is a real high stakes fight. Like it wasn't just them buzzing around each other, fighting for the sake of fighting. It was like they were trying to save their lives in this fight, which was really good and very clear, I think, in this. Plus, we got an awesome costume change. So
yeah, she's looking great with her new outfit.
I love it.
Yeah, Yang was loving it. You could tell
she was.
Yeah,
she's up.
Yeah,
good job. With the high boots too.
Yeah, we'll see what we're due for some costume changes in general. I think heading in next season. So
maybe they'll actually get winter outfits when they go to Atlas.
I'm not holding my breath. Semblances keep them warm. We're see rants from earlier this season, which they didn't actually say that on the show ever, so we established that. But more Adam lines. I wouldn't have to be doing this if you just behaved.
Oh my god.
if you just behaved, Blink.
At least this plays into him being a jerk and not just being cool. So that's good.
Yeah, it's good. I actively like these lines because
Yeah.
it's showing how terrible he is.
For the record, I'm saying, oh my god, at your voice, Dylan. Not
Oh, my impression's good, isn't it? It's a good no.
Flawless.
Breaks Blake's weapon, which is a big thing because weapons kind of matter on the show, so she'll need to get a new weapon. And then we get this from Adam. People hurt me long before we met. And then says a few things. He says, "You didn't leave scars. You just left me alone."
Okay.
And then the reveal that we completely
Finally.
forgot to talk about last week until the end of the podcast. We sticked around, we speculated, and he's not scarred. He takes off his blindfold. No more bird
You're talking about
box.
he is scarred.
He's scarred. It's not
He's
just
brand-
scarring though.
he looks branded.
He has
Yeah.
this SDC branding over one of his eyes, a Zuko-like kind of scar over here, and
Also, I like how he had the bluest of eyes, so we weren't like silver eyes.
Yeah.
no silver
Like, there
eyes,
was no
the
question.
silver eyes there. SDC for Schnee Dust Company, presumably, meaning that
Yeah.
he was branded like cattle. I guess he's a bull faunus, so it's in theme with his animal affiliation. I don't know why that works like that, but yes, he got branded by the Schnee Dust Company, and that is why he hates. And I think it fit. I think this is like the best bit of character depth we ever get. This explains
great.
all of his attitude and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? This is great.
Yeah. I think the craziest thing, Dylan, of all the times they've never explained anything to us, this is the first time we've just had something show up on a character and they don't just give us immediate, like, exposition dump. And I kind of really love it. Like, they finally learned to just show us and just not extrapolate.
This is all we needed. That being said, I do think there's a chance next week that we get a flashback to.
Take back everything I just said, Dylan. Like,
I'm saying just don't get too far ahead of yourself. As Adam's dying, he totally could have a flashback to him getting branded or something. I think that's very possible.
No, maybe it's like when they go to Atlas next season.
oh my god, no.
No, but no, not Adam showing up, but that Blake will like see some faunus or something, or see that brand on something and be like, Adam had that. Remember before we killed him? Like, that'll happen.
Oh, I was thinking you were going to say, like, they're going to go back to Atlas and, like, Weiss will talk to her dad and her dad will remember branding Adam and it'll be a flashback.
That
that's
could also
possible, too.
happen.
Yeah. I hope we don't, like, sympathize with Adam as he's dying, and which I don't think so. He's irredeemable at this point.
No.
But, and it's like, I'll make them pay for you, Adam. Like, no, we're not. Don't do that. But yeah, I think this is a great bit of characterization, right? It's very on the nose, very thematically tying into anime that premiered recently, Promised Neverland, which it was a very similar themes going on here, which I think was struck me as I was watching this. I loved it. I saw it to someone. This is obviously very tragic and kind of properly explains why Adam is so vehemently anti-human. It doesn't explain why he's such a terrible
And
person and
violent
so
as
terrible
well.
to Blake, but at the
No.
very least we understand why he's militant in the way he is. I think that's successful in that regard. That being said,
And
I've
he's
seen
had like trauma clearly through this too.
so which I think like show us this in volume 3 and we don't hate that scene so much, right? Like, I mean, it's still bad, but you need to just this is like making Adam. This is the first time Adam's been a character is when this reveal happens. Because he's just been completely, even the Adam, I guess was the Adam trailer or Blake trailer, whatever it technically was. Yeah. It still didn't give us that much about him. But this like, okay, we kind of understand his motivations here. And I thought that was like a really good reveal in that regard. I did see someone speculate that, what if he it was an accident that he got this or somehow. And,
An accident?
Like if there's like a box with SDC on it and then it like,
oh my
like
god,
an explosion and then it gets imprinted on his face and then he's like using this as like, he's lying about it.
No, because then it would be the wrong way round.
What?
The words would be the wrong way round if it was on a box.
Well, I gotta work out the physics of this. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think Hayley's right. But yeah, because anyways, yeah.
Probably.
Anyway, that's a fun theory because Adam would totally do that. But I think the bigger point here is this. I thought this was great and was the best thing we've ever done with Adam.
Yeah.
And also that they didn't like give the exposition, which is nice. And also it didn't detract from the fact that he's still a terrible person. Which is
we haven't used it yet to try to sympathize him. Like I think if we continue on the course that we're on, this will be flawless handling of Adam this season. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he's
that being
definitely
said,
going out in the best way.
I'm still worried about three things. One, him not actually dying and being saved post credits, or so we like see an arm come out. Two, I don't think, did I do A2? Him.
You did what?
Us sympathizing with him when he's dying. I'm worried about that because of this branding. I don't think we're past that yet. And Roman numeral 3, him. I don't even remember because I'm trying to meme too much with the list. He's. Flashback to him. Yeah, I'm still worried about that too. Okay, so if we avoid these three things, then we will be praising them in the handling of Adam, but we're not there yet. Okay, any other things from the Adam part section of the episode? I just thought in general the fights were great.
I just wanted to mention before I think one of the best fight scene things they've ever done is when Blake catches Adam's sword with her sheath, and it's just like such a cool like use of their weapons in a unique way that I like no other show would do something this cool, I don't think, where she just catches it and like all of a sudden the fight just changes pace completely and Adam has just a gun and it's really cool. I really like it.
Yeah. That was interesting. Yeah.
She was just like, I can't swear, but she was like a bad the whole time. And I don't even know I can't be coherent. Like I just keep saying it was amazing.
This was the first
just so awesome.
Yeah, this felt like Adam, like, he was really strong, but it didn't feel like Yang and Blake were in a different league than him for once. No. It felt like these were just people fighting for their lives, and he was just being a lot more violent, and they were trying to hold back in some way, because they don't kill people as much as he does.
No.
Hayley, you're going to be on a Catradora podcast for us coming up. Which cat are you fawning over more? Is it Blake or Catra?
Blake.
Wow, Blake. Okay.
Wow. Also, losing the jacket helps a lot. No.
Catra in a suit is not that's not equal to
the
that?
suit is great as well, but no, Blake. Oh my god, it was just so great. Like I just love Blake so much. Okay, and she's so nice now, and I'm sorry, she's just so great.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Great. Yeah, all right. That's referring to She-Ra and the Princess of Power, by the way.
Yes.
And
I'm gonna be bad on that too. I just go like, yeah, it was amazing.
No, that's fine. We like.
You can't be negative. Like I can't have nothing to be negative about except for the silly sword thing. But
RWBY's too good now. What are we even supposed to say about it? What are we supposed to say?
I just like swear at it as I'm excited and like freak out.
Okay, let's move to the less exciting but still good section of the episode. We'll spend less time here since we spent a lot of time on Adam.
There's so many theories, Dylan.
What theories are there?
We have to talk about Oscar still.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to Oscar in a second. But we're fighting Cordovan in the Genlock mech here. And
we need a name for it.
The guy that makes the RWBY status card, I think, called it Big Chungus. That was his name.
He gave it an Eve name? Of course he did.
Yeah.
We can't call it that. That's bad.
That's what everyone's calling it.
No, I just want to call it Atlas to make it.
Let's call it Fred.
Fred? Okay, that's also pretty good.
Fred.
I don't think there's anyone named Fred on this show.
No,
there never will be.
Yeah.
No.
So I want to talk about the White Rose sections first and foremost here because in general, here's what I have to say about this fight. I was like, this is very stupid. This big robot. Why are we doing this? I have to say, upon watching this episode, I realized that this is what I've wanted from RWBY. Not giant mech fights, but I want fights that don't have to be so edgy, life or death stakes here. Like I realized that I've been asking for that, and this is just kind of this. It's like this is a finale sequence, but it's just kind of this silly thing. And yeah, there's stakes because characters almost get hit by missiles and stuff every time, but there's this air of silliness to it because of this stupid giant mech
and like the teamwork. It was like harkening back to when they were like,
this is Volume 1 in the forest. They're like these, is the teamwork, the silliness of like they're in school. It's all kind of training. Like it's there's stakes, but not everything needs to be the Adam fight. Like this is a valid thing for a finale to an excellent season. This is just fun, and this is what I wanted from RWBY. I want it to be more fun, and I really do think this fight is really fun.
Yeah, there's multiple jokes just being thrown around. Like when they open up the thing, it's a clearly labeled shield generator. That's like a pretty funny moment.
So
it's clearly labeled. It's so good. It's just a really fun moment.
That was fun. The RWBY talking about video games during the fight. That was fun. The White Rose sections were
I wrote a note about this to myself because I didn't want to forget it. When they're like trying to figure out their battle plan at the start, and Crow is like, "I can get you a bird's eye view." Or something.
Oh my god!
Like Crow.
This Crow is like fine in this episode. He was
so bad, but hilarious.
Oh, Nora's like, you get back here with my man.
Yeah, right.
That was funny.
So good.
So, see, this was just so fun, this sequence. Like, this is what I want from you. Like, let's do more of this.
Plus, really cool, like, shots. I may be jumping ahead, but it was like the first fight scene shot when they're all going at the robot and RWBY was using her semblance in really neat ways. And they had that, like, tracking camera kind of as she was going through all the missiles and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just, that's the nice thing about the season and all, too, is that they have stuff like this, which is awesome, but could be kind of basic, I guess, technically. But then they put these amazing shots in that are just enhancing.
They present it in interesting ways.
Just
which
really adds to it.
Yeah. Also, this fight ends on the silliest thing of this mech catches a missile and then throws it back. Andy, did you like the physics of that?
What do you say, Dylan?
Did you like the physics of that moment of throwing the
missile? It took me multiple seconds to realize what they were trying to show.
I didn't understand the first time I watched it. It didn't process.
Showed the fist. Like, I don't know why we're seeing the robot's fist all of a sudden. And then it was like, and then she like reared back as she was throwing. So I'm like, is she gonna throw the missile? Shouldn't they have exploded? Then she threw it. I'm like, what? That makes no sense.
No, it knows when it needs to go off.
Yeah.
It was, that was interesting visual choice of not actually just seeing the hand and then like watching I think it's like the purpose of it was to let the silliness unfold in the audience's minds. Like, really, this is what just happened. Like, and I think it's successful in that regard.
It's good. I think it was crazy, but it was good because it made me laugh at the very least. Like, this is where we're like, this is rule of cool at its finest. Yeah. Like, that's good.
This
like,
whole
the fact
episode is rule of cool, honestly.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, this show is okay. It's okay to have rule of cool.
RWBY is the rule of cool show. Like, let's embrace that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
This isn't stupid aura semblance stuff that makes me upset. This is just stupid physics stuff.
The semblance, you could say rule of cool for semblances if they were cool, but they're not cool. Like, okay.
RWBY's was really cool this scene, though.
RWBY's semblance is the
They
best,
used it in really neat ways, except at the end where, like, girl, you're stuck on the cliff. Just do it one more time. Go up 2 feet. But
can she not do it up? Is that the issue? Is her thing was stuck in the thing?
Pretty sure she can. Like, that was the first move.
I think the point is that the main four and Pyrrha all had really good, have all really good semblances, and then they kind of just realized they didn't have much more beyond that. Like, that's the problem, because Yang, Blake, RWBY, and Weiss all have really awesome semblances that are fun to watch, and then, like, I just don't really care about anyone else's semblances beyond that.
Rip them. White Rose, I put it off long enough. First of all, they're standing together, like, when they're making the plans, and there's a shot of them, like, wow, that's the screenshot of the podcast. I took a screen cap.
And RWBY's, like, cute little faces to her and stuff.
I'm like, this is definitely the screen cap. And then there's just, like, 50 better ones right in the preceding moments of the episode. We're going with, I'm doing a thing where I'm doing 2 screenshots from this episode. I'm going to, like, post one in different places and another in different places. One of them's the handhold at the end of the episode, obviously. And then another one is the moment when RWBY's arms are wrapped around Weiss's waist on the Wasp, and they're like both smiling and looking to the distance. Yeah, it's the best. So there's that, and then RWBY and Weiss go to like attack the legs of the mech together, and Oscar is like, move, and then you're like, oh no, did they get hit? And then they fly out on a Wasp. Weiss summons. That was the beginning of last season, I think she fought the Wasp.
Yep. In that weird blue avatar place with the floating rocks.
The blue avatar place with the floating rocks. And then we'll get back to Oscar in a second here. And then RWBY is like attacking it and then falls down with the semblance, and then she falls onto Weiss's Wasp. She's riding around, and Weiss says, what if I hadn't caught you? And RWBY says, I knew you would, and grins at her.
So cute.
And then Weiss gives her an eye roll and is like,
I don't know. Maybe I'm like just seeing things, but I feel like this episode, RWBY's facial expression animations, even when she was just talking to Weiss at the start, were so much more readable.
She was emoting a lot for her.
She was emoting a lot. Yeah, and it was relating really well to the line reads, which were just like really like cheeky and cute, kind of.
Well, if we go along with it, I think it makes sense because last episode she made up with Crow. Like Crow and her are like back on good terms. I think that was messing with her head a bunch.
So
at least that's what the show is. I think the show is trying to say, that it was messing with her, that her uncle was so not helpful and so down in the dumps, and now everyone's kind of working together, and she feels comfortable enough to be happy again, or at least show it on her face.
Yeah,
and be the leader.
Yeah,
and being that she's again, even though John comes up with a planner.
But I think that's fine. I think John is fine in this episode. Like,
yeah, John's fine. I think everyone has a great role.
He's like her, like she's like, I don't know how military works, but she's like the boss, and he's like the captain or whatever. That's the assistant.
Yeah.
To the boss.
he can come up with the thing as
For
long
either-
as Ruby's
Yeah,
leading
he's
the
like
charge
tactile
Yeah.
stuff
He's good at like strategy and she's good at tactics. That's like kind of like what's
Yeah.
going on here.
and
here.
being
Yeah, and
the boss.
and then as mentioned, Ruby's we later see them riding on the Wasp. Ruby's arms around Weiss's waist, reminiscent of the freezer burn motorcycle from last season.
Oh,
That's,
remember that? Wow, guys, look where we've
God.
come from.
Yeah.
Where that was the biggest moment.
I remember there was a point when Dylan was shipping Freezer Bird. Like, it was so good.
I still ship
viable.
Freezer Burn. I still ship it. It's I ship Bumblebee more, but I still
But
ship
then we
Freezer Burn.
had that Bumblebee on Bumblebee scene last week, and
Yeah.
that just like of all the romantic bike scene moments, except maybe
Oh yeah,
you
that was
could
another
say
romantic
that
bike scene. And then this episode
Right?
had a
Maybe
romantic bike
when-
scene of throwing it into
when
Adam. That was very
Bumblebee-
romantic.
when Bumblebee the bike hit Adam, does that count as a romantic moment?
Yeah, that's what I'm
definitely.
saying. That was
Yeah,
romantic.
that too.
Yeah, that was definitely.
It was a Bumblebee moment of Bumblebee hitting Adam, right?
It,
That
it,
was-
Yeah.
it was Yank metaphorically throwing her love for Blake at her biggest enemy.
Feel the
Yes.
power of the ship, like
Yeah,
Also literally throwing a thing called their ship name at
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's the kind of stupid rule of cool stuff I want in this show. Like
Yes,
stupid
it's
stuff like this.
fantastic. Yeah. Okay, so the two biggest, so I went over them already, but the two biggest White Rose moments of the episode and of the entire series are this "What if I hadn't caught you? I knew you would" few second scene, which was incredible and showcased their dynamic really incredibly, and then also them just Ruby's arms around Weiss on the Wasp in combination, more White Rose than we've ever seen. Maybe justifies the two of them in the focus of the opening titles. Not completely, but at least we like kind of get a sense of that. And it gives you some more hope that we would eventually actually do Ruby and Weiss. Like, it's definitely not happening this season. But my new theory is that they're going to be Bumblebee will culminate this season, and then Ruby and Weiss will be the Bumblebee of next season. The thing we're going to tease for the next 3 seasons. Actually, by season I mean 3 seasons, and 7 to 9 will be us teasing White Rose until eventually we culminate them in season 9, in volume 9. That's my new theory.
It's definitely. I think maybe the opening title bit where it seemed like, wow, White Rose is going to be the thing this season was more so them being like, okay, so Ruby is our main character, so she's the focus, and her closest relationship this season, romantic or otherwise, has been with Weiss, I think, at least. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like they've really cemented their relationship and their friendship with each other this season, and they've got like cute little dialogue happening, so
Yeah,
who knows?
I think it's a good enough explanation. Yeah,
Right, yeah.
Ruby's been very, very well characterized, and the two of them have had enough moments, and this episode especially, hoping for more in the last 2 weeks. Not,
you've had like a White Rose corner on a decent amount of episodes.
yeah,
Yeah.
like about half of them. It's
Yeah.
been good.
Yeah.
This is more
Pretty good.
than this is the
And they aren't
biggest.
just like us reaching for it either.
No, this is
Like
very
they stood
blatant.
next to each other.
I'll be honest, Dylan. I thought you were reaching most of the episodes. This one was not a reach. This was very, at times, romantic. Like, just the way they've been treating each other. Not romantic, but further than just friendship at times, the way they were poking at each other during this fight.
How dare you say I was reaching at times? How dare you? Yeah, I'm still not confident this show is going to do it.
No.
But this
It's tough
is
being
bigger
in the
than we've gotten
inferiorship,
before.
Yeah.
You know, it's tough.
At the very least, they're like embracing finally the fact that over half of your fans are invested in these these main character relationships. Like,
Yeah.
utilize that as part of the fans' enjoyment of the show. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't do that and then bait for the entire season, then don't do it. But this is fine. I think what we saw here. This,
Dylan, I think you missed my like harsh burn there.
what was your burn?
I said said it's hard rooting for the inferior ship.
Oh, I
Wow.
missed that.
Evil.
Look, I'm on board with Bumblebee, so I will not respond to this, but White Rose is still number 1. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Still the best, although it's hard to, like, we've got, look, they both had touching this episode.
They
right?
did.
Like,
They
so
did.
That's big.
But Bumblebee have cuter outfits. So like
No, come on. Weiss's outfits are always the best. How dare you? Hopefully we're changing all of our. Also, why are outfits a criteria here of the?
they're not.
the
I'm
show?
just thinking about them again.
But just-
Haley's
Haley's mind was just sidetracked back to Blake.
Yeah,
Right?
Haley's mind
As-
is drifting back to the jacket flying off.
Yeah.
Literally, that was like the
young right now.
highlight. I was I love costumes and I love all of that, and it was so good.
Yeah.
Sorry, back to back to this fight.
Yeah. Okay. But the rest of it that we haven't talked about yet is RWBY shoots down a missile to start with, and then Weiss like jumps off the plane and throws up earth bends up this thing. John's tactics, let's use size as an advantage. I buy what John was saying here.
Not silly, not the worst.
It was moving slow. All they've seen, like, it doesn't move that quick.
Also, the funny thing though was him somehow inferring that like this machine is used to fight deep sea Grim.
It's not used for anything. It's just a stupid thing.
It's buried in a mountain. Like,
I mean, that's as good of an explanation as I've heard positive thus far. So sure, but I still don't know why we needed it.
It's still a one-time thing.
I guess that kind of makes sense if you're gonna make a big gun against some whale Grim or something. But
wait, no, it doesn't make any sense because if it's a deep sea Grim, it doesn't care that it's hidden behind a rock.
Yeah, you could just have this out in the open. That's a fair point.
But okay. I'm still imagining whale Grim, Dylan. That's just like the stupidest thing in my head.
You implying we're never going to see whale Grim? We definitely
are. We
definitely are. Mentioned, it's happening.
Start getting that ready for next season. That's a go-to. They got to ride on a whale Grim, and then it like realizes they're riding on it, and then it attacks them.
We did see the like serpenty thing that
Blake
we
saw the serpent.
Oh yeah, one of the few good things in season 4.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So size advantage. Oscar and Maria are going into the plane. And Crow's something about going up into the air. I don't think he was on the plane with them. And then
he's being a bird.
He's just being a bird.
He's got the bird's eye view.
Yeah, he's got the bird's eye view, Dylan.
And then Weiss is like, "You needed me on the ground." And RWBY says, "Not exactly. That was another moment." Yeah. Okay, we haven't talked about Mirror Mirror. Part 3 is playing. That's what we assume this is. We've heard multiple parts of the Mirror Mirror Weiss soundtrack before, and although they're using it more generally, I think. We see a lyric song, probably another part of Mirror Mirror is what's playing for a few minutes of this fight, and I thought it was fantastic. And RWBY comes up and then takes the shot at the window, this really cool shot, and it dents the window of the mech, and I saw a lot of people being, "Why'd it do that? It shouldn't have dented the window," like whatever. And then
she's got a good weapon.
She's weapons OP, whatever. There's shields on the mech. We talk about hard light dust. And I was like, I should have paid more attention during the World of Remnants about the different dust types. That was my reaction. Like, why didn't I take notes on this in school? Hard light dust. I don't know what that means. And then RWBY's talking about video game weak points. We got the White Rose stuff that I talked about. And Ren and Crow take out the shields. We mentioned that. Nora's "You get back here with my man." The most we just talked right, I think last week or week before, about how Nora hasn't really been romantic at all.
Yeah.
There you go, right there, my man.
Yeah,
okay, she said.
It's like very confirmed now.
Yeah.
Let's get them kissing at some point. Come on.
Yes,
we can do that.
true.
Yeah.
John's tackles Nora and then saves both of them. Was he using his semblance here? Yes, right?
Yes, he jumped on her and then empowered both their auras or whatever.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought was happening. It was a good moment for John because he's the
white mage, Dylan. He just
yeah.
He's the cleric.
Really, everyone has something to do here. Even Ren, who never does anything, was taking out the shields with Crow. Like, I think we get is a great teamwork fight. Everyone had something to do, and then at the end, RWBY's hanging off the cliff, and Cordovan's about to shoot her, but then Maria comes in and sends a missile, and then the mech catches it and then throws it back at the plane, and that's where we cut off. So there we go.
Also, side note, I know I've seen this before, but I don't know why it stood out to me more. Is that Ren's run is so hilarious.
Oh yeah,
because he runs so low, and his legs are long.
I don't need him to notice him. Is he Naruto running? Like, what's he doing?
When he runs, he's like really low to the ground, but his legs are really long, so he looks like a grasshopper.
It's really good.
Okay. Anything else from this fight we haven't talked about?
Besides Oscar stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So last thing, Oscar doesn't say a ton in this episode, but he's with Maria. He says a few things, and then at the end, he's like, "RWBY, watch out." So we still think this is, or last week, as of last week, we thought this is Ozpin, not Oscar. Ozpin took over for Oscar when Oscar was missing, and now this is actually Ozpin talking. So the question is, do we buy that Ozpin would be concerned about RWBY enough to warn her here? Do we think that Ozpin would? Because Oscar in this episode was genuinely trying to advance the plan that was happening. Yeah.
She has silver eyes, so he wants to keep her safe for that.
So would Ozpin do this? Would Ozpin want them to defeat the Thing? Would Ozpin want to protect RWBY? I say yes.
Yeah, because he needs silver eye people, right?
And she also
I also think he still cares about them.
But more importantly, she has the lantern.
She does have the lantern.
Yeah.
And I think he might have been worried about the lantern breaking.
But I still think Osmond's a good guy, in quotes. He still wants them to succeed, and he just wants them to follow him. So that's why he's tricking them as Oscar, and he wants them to get to that point. I thought he sounded like Osmond on the plane when he was talking. I thought he sounded way more Osmond than Oscar.
There were times they sounded like Ozpin for me, and sometimes they sounded like Oscar. I wasn't sure this episode. This episode,
I'm like, am I listening? Is it just because I'm listening so much now, or I can't tell anymore?
I think we're still doing this. I think this is Ozpin. Because I still think we need a big reveal. The Adam Eyes thing was a little bit of a reveal. We need a twist. We need a twist this season.
Yeah. This feels like the twist they're building up to, because we talked about Oscar for the first half of the season, and then he hasn't
done anything. He's been completely non-entity. Yes,
and they've been doing such good with this season of paying off things, paying off arcs, and Oscar didn't have an end to his arc yet, and
having a whole episode dedicated to him disappearing and then being like, "Hey guys, I'm back." That's just weird. Maybe that's going to be the end credits scene. Is him, I don't know, talking to someone or himself. Or
I think we'll pay it off in front of everyone, but if we wanted to secretly reveal it, we could do it in the end credits. Yeah.
I just think he's going to steal the lantern. I think he's going to ask the question. That's just check.
I think he's going to ask the questions too. Yeah, we still need to ask that last question. No one's really on board with this. People are like, "Oh, it's a cool theory," but no one's like, "It's happening." I'm telling you, this is happening. This is what's going to happen.
Let's all be wrong,
because the voice actor for Oscar is really good. He emotes which person he is at all times.
He's bringing a lot of subtlety to this.
Yeah,
he's in theory, right now he's playing Ozpin, trying to trick them by being Oscar. So that's a really hard thing to do.
But it sounds like it. It does.
I think it sounds like it, yeah, when you try to listen for it.
It really does. Especially the first time when, back in the episode where they got back to the house, I was so confused because it sounded like him.
And he's gotten better with time.
Exactly.
He's gotten better at sounding like Oscar,
We're such
but not
conspiracy theorists.
Look, it's not a conspiracy theory if it's happening. So
no, but am I mad? But I think it's happening. I really like it. I think it would be really clever if they did it.
At the very least, we need to pay off Oscar in some way.
We need to pay off Oscar, yeah. And we need to pay off Ozpin. That's the other thing. Ozpin was the big focus of the early season, and he just disappeared. So he needs to come back.
At the very least, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, right. It's just that, one of Oscar's last lines was about, Ozpin said this actually, didn't he? Where he was like that, I'll try and be here before I disappear, basically. Which is really dark, but that's such a random line, kind of. I don't know.
Yeah, he would have said that as Ozpin, I think, if it goes.
Right. Yeah. But it makes you think about so
it's
that
is deliberately placed by the writing. Yeah.
And it was such a big deal that he disappeared from the group. He hid away in Oscar's psyche at the beginning. That has to come back. That has
to come back. He needs, at the very least, the straightforward thing is he'll just reappear in his head.
Yeah. But that's not.
That's the bare minimum. And the question needs to be asked. And another reason why you should think this is going to happen is because we're already in what you think would be the finale, and we still have 2 weeks, 3 episodes worth of material to cover here. So unless we're bringing Neo and Cinder in and having another fight, or potentially people from the Salem bunch, whoever might appear, there's a few possibilities, which I don't think is going to happen. But we'll probably see Emerald Mercury in some form. Maybe we'll see Tyrion and Watts and there's 3 groups that
but that wouldn't be as good of a finale as
we need to. The point is, we still have a lot of ground to cover, and we're already wrapping up these fights, basically.
Yeah.
So we still next week we'll wrap up these 2. What's the finale episode going to be about? Is it Ozpin
and also
reappears?
It's got to be something because normally the finale would have been 2 episodes, but they purposely put them together. So it's got to be something that benefits from seeing it in a longer format, right?
Yeah, one of our commenters last week, or a few weeks ago, I don't remember, had a good theory about this, which is that the Volume 3 finale, was the last episode was kind of in two parts, or like, if you take the last 2 weeks, the real climax, the Adam scene was from the second to last episode. And then the last week was wrapping stuff up from the previous episode, and also had that second, I'm blanking on the word for it, but the RWBY writing the letter, and or I don't know if it was RWBY, it was visiting Yang. Yeah, it was visiting Yang when they're in the home. Yeah. This was from Nom Nom on YouTube. I'm glad I scrolled to look up that name. And basically it could be a split, right? Like it could be the end of the scene that's like an unrelated, we see where everyone is now, and then we see a wrap up. So I think that's possible. It's like we only could have 2 episodes more worth of action, and then the last part of the episode is setting us up for Atlas, or like the consequences of what happened here.
Or it could be like just quieter scene in general, not a fight scene. Like it could be just like the question to Jin. Like that could be the end of the season. Like that could be the final episode.
That could be, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Something quieter. Because, it's just notable. The end of Volume 3 ended very differently from the rest of the seasons. Although I think RWBY writing a letter was another one. So that
was Volume 4, though, Dylan. That whole season was quiet.
Yeah, that's true. It's hard to compare. But this should emulate Volume 3, this finale, because this is the Volume 3 of this season 2 in quotes, right? This is the actual last season. So unless we've started circumventing that, which is possible, but
we could,
which would be good. But yeah, it's possible that this will follow a similar structure. So we might want to look out for some sort of interesting way to end the season like that. Anyway, Oscar is Osmond. There you go.
In conclusion.
In conclusion. I don't know what else is. All I know, Adam's dying. Oscar is Osmond. And
Bumblebee's happening.
Bumblebee's happening. I'm not sure.
I think Crow's fine now. He's happy again.
He's happy. Well, no, that means he's gonna die because he's happy. Like he had one good moment.
I guess.
Like there's no Crow never escapes the death flags. That's the problem with his character.
Yeah, he'll still be there forever. Hayley, final thoughts.
Okay, final thoughts. I was just so happy after finishing this episode, and it was so awesome. And like we said, just like a rule of cool episode, which is perfect for the show. And Bumblebee finally is happening, which is like, I wasn't expecting that dramatic of a moment to be like for the first handhold, but it was, and it was perfect. So yeah, nice. Love it.
Hayley, it's all happening for Hayley.
It's all coming together, guys.
So that's what I say with the Osmond is Oscar conspiracy theory. It's all coming together. It's finally happening. Andy, final thoughts here. I
don't really have much here. I'm just really, this episode is, I literally was grinning while watching this episode, at least for the first half, and just really excited for the second half. This is just a fun episode of television, and I'm really excited for RWBY to be that. And also, because Beatrice spammed me all during the podcast, she wants to say Bumblebee forever. There you go.
She doesn't watch the show.
But she knows.
Dylan, I don't know. She spammed me all during the podcast.
At some point, she watched the show, and she's been asking us what Bumblebee's actually happening so she can catch up. But yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see if I'm going to use the Bumblebee screenshot on the Twitter posting the episode. We'll see if Delaney responds. She probably
bring everyone in.
I'm tempted to tag Delaney in the tweet too, but we'll see.
We're just going to trick Delaney into watching the show again.
I'll be like, you don't have to catch up on the scene. Just come in for just watch the Bumblebee conclusion. Then you can react to that might happen.
It was so good.
Yeah, but Andy was too positive there. We got to bring Tyrion back next episode to the tail.
Okay, as long as there's no tail stuff, I'm good.
His tail will be in the episode if he's there, so you will therefore rant about it. Okay.
No, we can't end on Tyrion tail.
Why did we show Tyrion's tail this season? That's another good point. Why did we show Tyrion's tail? He's not going to show up this season.
Yeah, I don't think he's going. We'll see if they show up. I really don't understand what they're doing with Neo Cinder, Tyrion.
I have another rant in the finale if Tyrion doesn't show up again because it makes no sense.
Oh, I look forward to it. No Ombudsman Corner, we got everything right. Tell us what we got wrong this week. And 5-star review of the week. If you want to help boost our iTunes average, please go to the RWBY feed on iTunes, Overly Animated RWBY. Find Crescent Rose, click on that, leave us a 5-star review, and we'll read it on the podcast. This week's from Anchored Dreamer, says 5 stars, fantastic RWBY podcast. I just started listening for volume 6, but didn't let the low rating sway me. Thank you. Don't let this is why we're trying to boost it. Don't let it sway you. It's hard to find an enjoyable show reviewing podcast that has good sound quality with multiple people calling in and not sound like chaos when everyone tries to talk. This podcast sounds fantastic, and I can really relate to the thoughts and hypotheses they come up with. The humor is good and keeps a great conversation going without losing track of the episode at hand. Great work, guys, and thanks for helping me enjoy RWBY more after the episode ends. Thank you, Anchor Dreamer, for leaving that review. That was a great review.
Thank
yes, underappreciated the sound quality. I agree. Thank you. That's my end. So thank you. And we had some cutting off stuff in this episode. That's another hard thing.
We did,
but
so many thoughts happening.
It's fine. We're just very excited. Yeah. But yeah, leave us 5-star reviews. Thank you for that. And I think another good podcast here. Good job, Hayley and Andy. We're very excited about this conclusion of Volume 6, and we'll be back next week to talk about Bumblebee Kiss. It's possible.
And even more importantly, only a week more until Genlock, right?
Oh, yeah. Get out of here. Yeah, well, this episode was Genlock. I thought this was the Genlock.
Is that how you're gonna spit it?
What if we start watching Genlock and it's just this robot shows up immedially? What if this Gordo?
If
that happens, though, we just have to cover the entire show because we know they're just memeing us the entire time.
if it's a meme show, we'd be more likely to cover it.
Yeah, we would.
If they like hired all these high-paying actors just to do a meme show, that'd be great.
That would be so good. Just David Tennant actually acting, and then they just throw stupid RT memes at us the whole time.
Wait, is David Tennant in Genlock?
Yes, David Tennant's in Genlock.
He is not.
He is.
Okay,
you don't even know. Michael B. Jordan, Dakota Fanning, Macy Williams, and David Tennant. Yeah.
Dylan, did you know off the top of your head all the
Yes,
actors?
I did.
So bad.
It's because I've seen Genlock this week was on like a most anticipated. It's like AV Club's most anticipated show. It's like, here's the voice actors that enjoy. Like, yeah, okay, I guess that makes the most anticipated. If that's.
Well, RWBY's been so good that like maybe it's bled over, you know.
Maybe we know the Rooster Teeth animation team in general has been killing it lately. So
yeah, they really have been.
Yeah, so we'll see from Jen. We'll see about Genlock Coach. Anyway, why do we talk about Genlock? Okay, that's it.
It's just so fascinating.
Yeah, join us on Discord to talk about the episode at overlyanimated.com/Discord. Support us via Patreon, patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, David, aka Papa Papillon, and thanks as always to our patron executive producers, John and Steve, Alex, and Hugh. Yes, back to cover RWBY next week. We also have Young Justice Outsiders regular coverage coming. That will be on Monday nights, I believe. We also have Steven Universe coverage. No Steven Universe this week, but the huge Steven Universe finale is the week after. Wow, that week of the 21st, two equally important and huge finales: the Steven Universe hour-long finale, and then the RWBY Volume 6 finale. Right, equally important. And
I'm very excited for RWBY.
Very excited for both of them, right? Yeah. So that's only slightly facetious when I say that. Only slightly. I mean, the Steven Universe finale is like the biggest thing in the history of the show. It's gonna be huge. But we're also very excited for the RWBY finale, especially if they put off Bumblebee for another week, which they might. Yeah, we'll see if they do that next week. So. Okay, let us know what you thought. Leave comments on YouTube or on overlyanimated.com. You guys have been great with the comments, and I've enjoyed hearing from you. And, yep, thanks for listening, guys. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.